Hello and welcome to another repair video. So, like I mentioned in my previous video, I want to replace the subframe on my car, and the reason I want to replace it is because the steering linkage, the center link more precisely, is not straight. It should be parallel with the subframe, and it's crooked like this. And yeah, so I need to replace it. I also replaced the idler arm. I want to replace the pitman arm as well. I got a brand new one. And I have a bit of news about the whole, crooked steering situation. So I remembered back in 2019, I replaced the O2 sensor on my car with a new Bosch unit, pretty standard procedure. But when I came back from a test drive after installing the O2 sensor, I noticed a lot of smoke. Actually, my wife told me, "Hey, your car is smoking." I parked the car, outside like this, and so I rushed. I went and got my my jack, lifted the car quickly because I really wanted, to know what's going on. And thankfully, it was just the PB blaster, penetrating oil burning off under the car. It was making a bit of smoke. But as I was rushing to jack the car, I did a newbie mistake, and I went too quickly and actually jacked. Well, I believe I jacked the car on the actual center link instead of the subframe. And here, let me grab a light. So as you can see, the subframe is over here, and just behind it is the center link. And actually, what happened is that I jacked the car, and then as I was lifting it, maybe maybe like a foot and a half, or a foot and a quarter, the car dropped on the ground, and I didn't really think about it much. I just rejacked the car, placed my wood block under the subframe, jacked it again, looked at the smoke situation, and then I moved on. But what I think happened is that I actually jacked the car on the center link, and that's why it slipped. And that's why my old center link has a kink. It's bent over here, and I was thinking some previous owner haphazardly jacked the car or something like that. Well, actually, I think I caused it. And yeah, so that's a bit of a lesson for myself and from others who want to DIY on these cars, and on any car really. You really have to pay attention and take your time, because this kind of mistake, it can cause material damage, but also loss of life, or you can be injured. So yeah, I'm not really proud of that, and thought I would share it, because it's by doing mistakes and learning from them that we get better. And yeah, so I think my bent subframe and bent center link is all my fault, and I need to change the subframe because of that. So hopefully when I change it, it should be all good, and I can just move on. So yeah, so the plan for this video is to change the subframe, change also, while I am at it, I want to change the gasket on the oil pan, because it's seeping a bit. I got no leaks, but I can see some oily residue around it. So yeah, I'll be changing it. So yeah, let's see how it goes, and yeah, let's get started with that. Okay, so let's start with the two bolts that hold the engine to the engine mounts. These are 17mm. Alright. On the passenger side, you need to first remove the airbox. So this is a 10mm nut. This is a 6mm clamp. Okay, now for the passenger side engine mount bolt. Yoinks! The lower control arms are bolted to the subframe, so you need to remove them before removing the subframe, and they're held in place with a 19mm bolt, and there's also a 19mm nut on the other side. Alright. Okay, same thing on the other side. Alright. It was suggested to me to soak the bolts of the subframe in penetrating oil for a long time before attempting to remove them, and I think that's a great idea. It's not something I would have thought of doing, and especially because it's not obvious where these bolts are. So if I zoom in on this hole over here in the body rail, you can see the top of one of these bolts. And to see these holes, you'll need to remove these caps. So let me just show you a cap. These plastic caps, okay, there are 3 on each side, and once they are removed, you can shoot some penetrating oil down in this area. You want to allow the penetrating oil to reach the threads, so yeah, do it well in advance and before you start the job. And actually I did that. So for this bolt, and there's another one down in there, and then I thought there was also another one further back, but actually that's not the case, because if I look on the subframe, you can see the bolts are bunched together fairly closely. So there's like a 1, 2, and 3, and actually the other bolt is for this piece. So yeah, that's not needed if you want to remove the subframe, I believe. So I'll need to find the cap. I did not see a cap on there. Maybe if I reach with my hand. Oh yeah, I can feel it with my fingers under the ABS servo. There's the cap right behind the ABS servo. So I'm using my video camera to look at the screen to see what I'm doing. Yeah, there's not a lot of room in here to work. Oh, there it is. No, don't go back in the hole. Come on. Get over here. Alright, so I got the cap out, and I added a bit of angle to the straw of my penetrating oil can. Alright, should be good. I'll just let it soak overnight, maybe for a few days, just to be on the safe side. So I did the same mistake on the passenger side. I had removed this cover here and soaked it in penetrating oil, but it's not for the subframe, so I put back the cap. You actually have a hole here. There's another one. I'll try to show you. Okay, I'll reposition the camera, but there's one under this AC line, and there's also one like over here under this other AC line, this cover now. So you just loosen the 10mm bolts, on this clamp. So you just loosen this clamp, and then you can move this line around, just so you can get the cap off from under here. So yeah, I need to remove this cap that I can feel with my fingers and shoot some penetrating oil down there. Okay, so you're looking at the AC line. Sorry for the bad angle, it's really tight in here. There's a clamp, and if I look down, there's the cap under the AC line. Maybe this side. All right. Alright, that should be good enough. Okay, next I want to disconnect as many things as possible from the subframe. So I will remove the idler arm over here by holding the nut at the top here and removing the bolt from the bottom. And then on the other side I will just disconnect the pitman arm from the center link, and I think that will free up all the components on the subframe. Okay. Can someone explain why my socket wobbles like this on a 17mm nut. So it's starting to sort of grind away the material on the nut, and I just don't get it. I mean, this is it because it's a low quality socket? Is that it? I mean, is that what the higher quality sockets give you, like a tighter fit? Because if I'm applying leverage, I can easily eventually slip, and yeah, it's no good. I don't like that. So yeah, any suggestions, just let me know. Okay, I applied some pressure because this ball joint keeps spinning. Hey, it's a strange design how there's no way to hold that ball joint. All right. Okay, so I'm using the Harbor Freight type of puller onto the nut of the pitman arm, and that will push the ball joint out of the pitman arm. Okay, so I got an extra long half-inch ratchet and safety goggles. I'm standing away because it's a lot of pressure on that tool. Oh, is that it? Well, I guess when it's been only months since you installed the center link, there's really not a lot of grime and rust holding the ball joint in place. So yeah, it just came out right away. Easy. Okay, so I got the idler arm disconnected on the other side. The center link is resting on this jack stand, and I just need to lower the center link over here like this. Okay, so that's all the steering linkage disconnected. Yeah, I just want to move it out of the way so I can lower the subframe. So that should be good enough. I got plenty of clearance here. Okay, so the steering wheel is locked in place. I removed the key, and I'll try now to remove the U-joint from the steering box. So because I don't have a paint pen, I use some masking tape just to mark where the steering, the U-joint is compared to the steering box, because I want the splines to be aligned the same way when I put it back together. So there's a 13mm bolt that holds the U-joint in place, so you need to hold the bolt with a wrench and use a ratchet or another wrench. I just want to relieve the pressure anyway. I don't want to remove it entirely. At least I don't think I need to. So I got a big pry bar. I hope I won't damage anything. Where do I get leverage for this? Not on the brake lines. That would be a bad idea. Maybe if I try to just wiggle it, will it come out? Okay, so someone on the internet said to just unclamp the steering column in the car and pull on the steering wheel, and it should undo the spline connection here. So it's worth a try, so I'll give it a shot. Nope, doesn't work. Okay, so not a lot of information online about getting these U-joints out of the car, and as you can see, I made some progress, and I want to show you how I did it. So I had to remove the nut and bolt entirely. It's yeah, this one. Okay, so this one was under there, under the input shaft, and the reason is that here, let me go down. Okay, so the reason I removed the nut and bolt is to free this pinch area, so I can wedge a large flathead screwdriver in it. So I used a hammer to hit the screwdriver, and then it's firmly in place, and it actually opens the pinch area. And then what I do is I grab a large pry bar, so this kind of bar, pretty big, and then I wedge it onto the chassis over here, holding the a control arm. And you know, you have to be careful if you use area stuff as leverage. You don't want to use a hose as leverage, or you know, brake lines. You have to be careful, of course. So you wedge it in there, and let me see if I can grab a clear shot. So I wedge it in there and then put it there. So now if I hit the pry bar this way, it'll apply leverage onto the U-joint. So yeah, that's a good way to use some leverage, because from up top in the engine bay you can't really get a clear shot. So from under here it works pretty well. Alright. Oh yeah, really liking this result. If you try to you know, grab the U-joint like this and then pull it with all your might, that's not gonna happen. You really need leverage. You need to use a large pry bar, a big dead blow hammer, and things like that, and it works. And that joint feels brand new. There's no play, no clicking. So yeah, great. Okay, so I marked this shaft over here because I thought I needed to remove it, but yeah, I'll just leave it alone and just remove this one instead. Okay, next I will remove the power steering fluid from the reservoir over here, and then I'll disconnect the hoses to the steering box. So I can just I think move these hoses out of the way for the moment. Okay. Alright. Got the strainer. I think that's a 10mm. Okay, is that gonna fit? Oh yeah. Okay, so there's a nut and there's a washer under here, and then I can remove the strainer like so. Okay, so I got a lot of fluid in there, so I'll just get it all with a turkey baster. It's like a green color. It's probably got mixed with a lot of old fluids when I changed it, so I'll be changing it again. Okay, so I think I got most of the old fluid out, so it's quite a lot in there. Okay, so let's go for the smaller hose first. It's a 19mm banjo bolt kind of design. Oh, it's tight. Not sure if it's spilling all over the place or what. Okay, there's a washer here on this side. I believe there's another one here at the bottom. Yes, there it is. I'll need to get new crush washers. I can just move this out of the way. So you know, when you've never done a job, you don't know what to expect. Like, is it going to be a few trips, a big pool of fluid, or what? It turns out it's a lot of fluid, and this is just from one hose. So yeah, get your bucket under there and your cardboard box and all of that, and get ready to clean up because it makes a mess. Okay, so the larger hose takes a 22mm socket, and it's gonna spill all over the place, but I got a bucket and a cardboard box under the car now. Wow, it's tight. Okay, so 2 washers there as well. Okay, just made it tight by hand. So I guess what I need to do now is to I need to support the engine, and I can lower the subframe, I guess. So yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Okay, now to support the engine, I'm using this engine support bar that you know, pretty much everyone uses in the DIY community because it's inexpensive, it gets the job done for these occasional uses, and it works. Yeah, at first I wanted to use so there's a sort of eyelet down there near the transmission that you can use to hold the engine. There's also one here by the water pump that I'm using over here, and so I wanted to use both of them, but I think that's more to use with a cherry picker, you know, to balance the engine while you want to take it out. But that's not what I need today. Today I just need to support it. I don't need to lift it or anything. I just want it to stay in place. Yeah, at first I positioned it further back here, but yeah, I pushed it forward, you know, more towards the where the engine mounts are, more or less, and I think that will be good enough. So I got these large handles snugged up with pliers. Also this nut, so it doesn't move and tilt. Yeah, so, and just make sure when you're installing it that you don't actually install it on one of these bolts. So you want to be just on the actual fender sort of gutter area. And yeah, so I got it you know, cranked just enough so it doesn't start lifting the engine, but yeah, it's really tight in there, and I can just you know, I can wiggle it, and it's not going anywhere. So I feel quite confident with this bar, and I'll still add some wooden blocks at the bottom here, because I don't trust you know, just one solution to lift the engine. So I'll put some blocks by the oil pan, or this power steering bracket or something, just to have a second line of defense. So yeah, so I'll set this up, and then I'll be able to remove the subframe. Can you tell that a penetrating oil helped? It's soaked in oil. Wow, that's amazing. So effective. So this one did not have as much penetrating oil. Actually, it didn't seem to have any. Okay, I'll go on the other side and do the same thing, and then finish with the center bolt on both sides. Okay, right side. Alright, so I made some progress with my breaker bar and a cheater bar. So let's try it with my impact now. I'm having trouble with this impact. It's shutting down, and it seems like it's overheating really quickly. So maybe I need to clean it or something. Not sure if it's aged. It was given to me, so anyway, let's give it a try. Alright, yeah, this one was fully rusted, but yeah, at least it came out. Alright, easy. Okay, the middle bolt on the driver's side that I left for the last. Okay, so all very rusty. So if you are doing this job, you really need an impact or a really good breaker bar, because yeah, things are going to be quite rusty. As a reference, the two front bolts are the same length, only the rear one is longer. Okay, let's see if I can pull the subframe now that it's all unbolted. I think I'll try hitting it from above with a block of wood. Okay, so I've been hitting the subframe from above using a large piece of wood and a large dead blow hammer. I don't have one of those, you know, really huge sledgehammers, so I have to, you know, deal with what I have. But I think I see a bit of an opening here at the front. Actually, yeah, that looks like a proper gap. So I'll stick a pry bar in there and, you know, hope I can unstick the rest of the subframe. Yeah, I'm making progress because I can fit my finger in there now. Okay, so I could not find any area where I can pry at the back here. It's all really square and there's no lip or leverage. So I'll try on the driver's side now, using the same technique as before, using the pry bar and the block of wood. Okay, maybe if I try to jack this corner here and then try to hit the other side from on top, because maybe it's binding with the dowels. So yeah, I'll try that. Okay, yeah, so you can see what's happening. If I jack on this side, yeah, you can see the subframe is shifting. So it looks to be loose on this side. Yeah. So so I'll just jack it like this and then try to hit it on this side. Okay, so after hitting it from above on this side, prying over here with the pry bar like on the driver's side, and also hitting it from the front here. Not sure what worked exactly, but perseverance worked, I guess, because now it's free. So both locating pins are out, and I think I can lower the subframe now. Okay, so as you've seen, that didn't go really as planned. I thought I could balance the subframe with a large, like a long block of wood on my jack, but no, that's not going to happen because I did not really appreciate how heavy the steering box is. It's really heavy and adds a considerable amount of weight, and it makes the weight shift on this side. So you really have to take that into account, and yeah, I forgot to think about that. But anyway, like I've said in a previous video, this is not a how-to video. This is just a computer guy trying to be a mechanic, and it's for entertainment purposes only. So as you've seen, the subframe fell on the ground and it bent this little stopper here for the pitman arm, unfortunately. And yeah, but I'm not reusing this subframe, and someone could easily bend it back, you know, upwards. Yeah, what I'm really surprised is how little rust there is on this subframe. It's really clean. Most likely because the car wasn't driven really during the winter time. So yeah, it helps a lot. And the gearbox, steering box looks good as well. So I'll have to dismantle everything, and yeah, so I need to take out the steering box. The engine mounts are already unbolted, and I will be using new OEM engine mounts by Corteco. So yeah, and this is where my subframe is bent because of the of when I jacked the car with my Centerlink, and it's really hard to see how bent it is. Difficult to say, you know, what's the issue is. Maybe it's up top here or down there. I don't know. I'd have to compare with my new subframe. I sent my new subframe to the paint shop, so it gets a semi-gloss finish and the rust taken care of. So it'll be nice and clean when I reinstall it. And this label I checked, and it's really expensive. I think it was like $20 or $40 just for this label. So I might just try to peel this one off and reuse it, or just leave it alone. I'll see. And I'm really happy with the way the engine bar supports the engine. I can rock it a bit, so we can see it's really supported. I can hear the chains, but it's not going away. And really nice device. And I broke one of I think it's this side, or the top, yeah, the top side of this bracket thing. So now this this tube can move. So I'll have to see if I can order another one of these. I'll be changing the gasket on the oil pan, but before doing that, of course, I have to drain the oil. So I'll do that now. And I have a new tool just for that. Let me show you. Okay, so that's the tool. Basically, it's a handle with a flexible neck and a magnetic tip, and you use this tool to unscrew the drain bolt when you're changing the oil. That way you kind of keep a safe distance. You don't get any oil in your hands, and it should be easier and less messy that way. And the tool is the OTC 5911A. Okay, there you go. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, you get pretty good control. And get a nice, maybe like a 6 to 8 inch distance. Yeah, I like that. So yeah, obviously I'll be reusing the oil because it's really fresh. I'm pretty sure it's a nice golden color still. There you go. Yeah, nice and golden. So I'll let this drain, reuse it, and then I can proceed with changing the oil pan gasket. Okay, so time for the oil pan gasket. I removed the steering linkage completely. I think it will give me a much better access. So now I got plenty of room to work with, and I think I need to take care of a few things first. So I got, as you can see, a bungee cord right here holding the power steering pump, because the bracket of the power steering pump is actually held onto the oil pan. So that's kind of strange, but yeah, so I need to remove the bracket, and I will be supporting the power steering pump from above. And I also need to remove you know, these oil pipes, and I need to check on the other side if there's anything. So yeah, let's start with this bracket. Okay, so first the adjustment bolt. It has a 19mm head, and there's a 13mm nut on the other side that you need to unscrew. Okay, so I think I can leave it free like this, as long as it's not engaging the teeth over here. It should be okay, because I just want to pivot the bracket this way, you know. So there's a captive nut on this side at the back, and then here I think it's a 13mm. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. So that's the bracket out of the way. So yeah, that's all you need to do, because see, the oil pan is all clear here, so that should be good enough. And I got the oil pump supported, so yeah, okay, should be good. Okay, now the oil level sensor goes up here into the engine compartment, so I will try to do it with one hand. I think I just need to push this clip. Yeah. Okay, so I can pull the wire out of its retaining clip over here and just fish it down like this. These oil pipes, I can just move out of the way. Should be okay. So once I remove the oil pan, I'll just move these. Okay, so I'm at the back of the engine, and someone recommended online to start with the 4 bolts by the near the transmission, because otherwise if you finish with them, they will be very difficult to remove because of all the tension that will be on them, and they can break and snap off. So yeah, I'll start with these. These are 10mm bolts. So these bolts don't seem to be all that tight. Oh, and they have a washer as well. I see. Oh, they're very long though. Look at that. That's a huge bolt. Wow. Not often you see 10mm heads with such a long bolt. Okay, so I thought there would be 2 other bolts here, so I'm not sure which 4 bolts the guy was talking about, so okay, I'll just go with this one instead. Okay, so I got most of the bolts out now, and it's pretty straightforward. So this hose pipe combination just drops down, and yeah, you don't need to remove the center bolt here that holds this clamp to this metal clamp. Just leave it there and just remove the 2 bolts here. So yeah, only 1 bolt was really difficult. On the other side, it was really rusty and lots of corrosion on it, and I had to use my impact and some socket converters. So yeah, that was a bit scary because it's only 10mm, and I was afraid to snap it, but in the end it worked. So now I only need to remove a few more bolts up there, I believe, and then yeah, I'll be ready to hit the pan with a rubber mallet and place a jack under it and drop it. So I was looking at my oil pan as I was trying to get it unstuck, and then I saw these bolts with the, you know, the funny head. I wonder if these are the 4 bolts that the guy was talking about. There's only 3. Maybe there's one on this side. Okay, so that must be the 4 bolts the guy was talking about. Okay, it wasn't really obvious at first because you know, I was just looking at the bolts that bolt from the bottom up, not like sideways. Okay, so I'll figure out this funny head and remove them. Okay, so we're a few days later, and I'm back with some new sockets. I had to get new sockets because I did not have this type. They are called external Torx, or e-Torx, and they are mostly found on transmissions from what I can read online. So yeah, never knew about that. You learn something new every day. So yeah, now I got a an E10 socket over here. So let's go and try it. Yeah, the fit is really tight. All right. Okay, so that's the bolt. There's a wave washer on it, and it's a really clean bolt. Okay, so this is the last e-Torx to remove. Okay, so last e-Torx bolt. Okay, let's go and drop the pan now. You can see here, by the way, some oily residue. Yeah, the pan is definitely leaking at the gasket, so yeah, it's a good thing that I'm changing it now. Okay, so let's do that. So it's really stuck, and the temptation is to stick a like a prying device here, but I risk damaging the mating surfaces here. So I just need to keep hammering away, and it will eventually come off. Yeah, okay, I can move the pan now. Okay. My number one fear is to find out that I forgot one bolt. So I hope that's not the case. Okay, so yeah, it turns out I forgot one bolt. It's in the center there. So I totally overlooked this bolt. So yeah, I think that once I remove it, the pan will just drop down easily. All right, last bolt. Okay, so it should drop easily now. Ah, yes. Perfect. Okay, so the pan is hitting this bracket that holds the tensioner for the AC belt. So I'll just remove it. Hopefully the compressor doesn't come crashing down. But yeah, I think that will help to clear the oil pan. Okay, 13mm bolt and nut. Okay, let's see if that clears it. Okay, so the pan cleared the bracket here just by moving the bracket down, and then I think I can lower my my jack, yeah, and then just maneuver the pan out of the way. Okay, now it definitely cleared the bracket. Okay, seems to be free now. Finally. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to jack the engine just slightly so I can clear this tubular piece at the back there, because it doesn't work when I try to slide the pan under it. Okay, there you go. Okay, so I'll just lower the engine again. Okay, so here's the oil pan. It looks pretty good. I just found some maybe condensation residue at the bottom there. I think it might be just sludge or condensation. And the gasket was really brittle. As you can see, it just falls apart. But other than that, there's really not just some wear there from when I scraped it on the chassis a bit. It should be okay. And the rest looks all good. So yeah, really happy. No varnish, or almost no varnish, you know, just a bit there, but so that tells me that the oil changes were done on this car before, so that's great. So now I'll take a look under the engine. The engine looks really good. It's in top condition. There's barely any varnish, and yeah, all the parts look great. I'm not an expert on engine wear, but you know, to me it looks like a healthy engine, especially for 30 years old. It looks in really good condition. Yeah, so I'll just need to clean the gasket and mating surface, and it should be okay. What's in there? Nothing. But, yeah, sorry for the blurry camera, by the way. I got oil on my lens. I need to clean it. But yeah, looks in really good condition. What about the chain? Yeah, chain looks good. I'll double check all the bolts tightness just to be on the safe side. But yeah, from a quick glance, looks my engine looks to be in great condition. Okay, so I cleaned up the mating surface of the oil pan, and it's looking quite good, as you can see. And I cleaned up the inside as well. I did not remove the oil level sensor because I don't have a a replacement O-ring for it, so I'll just leave it alone. But yeah, the oil pan looks really good. I noticed a couple of things. There is a there's a chunk missing here on this edge, but it should be okay because the sealing surface is you know, right here in the center. And also there are some scratches. I think they are over here. Yeah, you can see some scratches. I guess that's when I dragged the oil pan out of the car. So yeah, I'll have to check for these, but I don't think it will matter because when I run my finger I can feel it, but just barely. So yeah, I had to remove all the cork remaining gasket here. I used this Mayhew Dominator scraper. It works really well, made in the USA, of course. And yeah, so you just go like this and you know, scrape all the gasket material. So now I'll flip the oil pan over and wash it with dish soap, just some mild soap that is good at removing oil residue, and it should look pretty good after that. Okay, so here's the final result. I'm really happy with how it turned out. All of the oil is gone, so it's looking a lot better than it was. Not perfect, of course. Nothing in this world is ever perfect, but yeah, I'm quite satisfied with how it turned out. And I also managed to remove some of the, you know, that yellow coating that BMW put originally on these cars, the Cosmo line, I think it's called. That's the yellow stuff there. Yeah, I removed some of that, so to me it looks better without the coating, even though it serves a good purpose. So yeah, really happy with how it turned out, and I guess now I just need to install the gasket and reinstall the pan.